All right, guys, welcome back. Hi. All right. Let me quickly start with attendance, and hopefully you guys are all ready so we can take our class photo today. Awesome. All right. Okay, so let's start at the top today. Abby.
Here.
Okay. Laura.
Here.
Deidre.
Here.
Great. Ashley.
Here.
Okay. Paulina.
Here.
Akili.
Here.
All right. Liam.
Here.
Okay. Emily.
Here.
Mara. I see you. Savannah.
Here.
Okay. Carrie. I do see, Carrie, your block in the chat. Let me know if your audio is not working. James Lynn.
Here.
Okay. Amanda.
Here.
Okay. Steffi.
Here.
Okay. Christina. I don't see her. Naja.
Here.
All right. Morgan. No. Gianna.
Here.
Okay. Apurva.
Yeah.
Okay. Emma. No. Okay. Samantha.
Here.
Okay. Jenny.
Here.
Great. Joy.
Here.
And then great. Alexis.
Here.
All right. Last call for Christina, Morgan, and Emma. No? Okay. Well, we're gonna then maybe we'll take the class photo a little bit later, just in case they're trickling in a little bit late. So we don't have to like repeat that. In my previous class, somebody came in, then we did it again. Or like, we should do it toward the end or something. But I'll do it before we might go into breakout rooms or something like that. Okay. So I have to ask, guys. So as you saw in my email, I totally messed up with time difference. I keep forgetting that Korea is like basically a day ahead. So I don't have to be asynchronous on Monday, but maybe you guys prefer that. So I'm gonna ask you right now, and we can take a poll. So these are the two options for today. So originally, what you were going to do on Monday, well, not originally, I would prefer preferably do what's supposed to be on Monday today. Like I would like to do that today because actually the activity is related to correlation and regression. Okay. So that's one option. And then what we'll do is I'm going to do a few things. I need to go through problem set 8 and clarify a few things. I know there was like a few emails on that as well. My bad. It's like a whole nightmare with Lumen and Blackboard this semester. But anyways, after all of that, so option number 1 is to break out into the breakout rooms that I told you last time. And then we do those questions today, right? So we spend the class time to do that. That's option 1. Option 2 is we keep that activity for Monday as I originally proposed, and it can be asynchronous or synchronous depending on what your team wants to do. And then instead today, we actually start with the final review. And I created like almost close to, I think, 40 questions so that we can practice, and we'll go through that together. So that's option 2. The reason why I would prefer option 1 is that we just finished correlation and regression. So then while that's still fresh, we can do this activity, and then that's good. And then Monday we can have the normal, just like, and then the review starts Monday officially. So that's kind of my preference, but because I messed up, obviously, with all the time zone and this and that, I'm just like kind of going crazy. So if you would prefer to stay as I have proposed earlier, to do like Monday synchronous / asynchronous, depending on what you want, and do the correlation regression on Monday, that's option 1. To do that today and then just do our final review starting Monday, that's option 2. Okay, so in the chat right now, type in the number you prefer. So number 1 is doing that breakout room session that I was supposed to do on Monday, that I said I was going to do on Monday. Just do that today. And then starting the final review Monday. That's option 1. Option 2 is kind of originally as planned. You keep that Monday. And then today we start kind of like the broader final review. So 1 or 2. Okay, so I see Emma is here now and Morgan is here now. That's good. We didn't take the
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So we didn't take the class photo yet, so you're good. So I got Emma here, Morgan here, and then do I have Christina? Christina's here now.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, look at that, guys. We have everybody. You can totally take a class photo together without nobody missing. Awesome. Okay. All right. Option 1, that's amazing. That's kind of what I preferred anyway. So let's go ahead and do that today. I mean, not that you can't express your opinion now, but that's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 16. That's quite a bit of you guys because I have 24 of you guys. Okay. So that kind of does logically make sense. So let's go ahead and do that if that's okay with you guys. DS, are you there? This is my next class. You can go now. Hello, hello. Why do you not log off after you're done? I should have ended that session. Okay. Can I? If I remove, does that person get kicked out? I have never done that in Zoom before. Let's try that. Yeah, okay. I removed. Okay. That's good to know. That's a new feature I knew. Okay. All right, everybody. So with that in mind, let's all open up our cameras, as in turn on our cameras. Let's see those beautiful faces, finally. All at once for the first time. Look at that. Look at this. It's like fireworks. All these things popping. Oh, I should have recorded this, just like a screencast. Look at that. Oh, so beautiful. Come on, Ashley, Naja. Join the bandwagon. Come on. Yay, it's full and it's all on. Oh, can you guys imagine how much of a better professor I would have been if this was the case? That's on you. That's on you that I was bad this semester because I didn't have this. Morgan's like, what? Okay. All right. So we have 24 of you guys, which is oh my God, this is like, could not have worked better. You guys really want to take that photo, didn't you? All right. So I have the full screen on my thing here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Command Shift 4. So I'm going to get it ready. Okay. So on my count on 3, let's do a few normal ones, and then we can do a few themed ones, okay? So from what I can see, let's see, you guys are all good because you're kind of in the middle and like, you know, nobody's like tilting or anything. Good, good, good. Okay, so if you want to come a little bit closer, and remember you're looking at the camera on your device, whatever device you're on, and let's see those pretty smiles. Okay, countdown from 3, 2, 1, okay? This is just normal, happy face. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, very good. Okay, we'll do a few more. I, for once, when I take a picture, 9 out of 10 are, my eyes are closed. So I tell people, you know, do the digital courtesy. I got massive storage, just take 10. So I'll do a few, just to make sure everybody's like eyes are open, unless you want to close. It's a free country, supposedly. All right, smile. 1, 2, 3. Yay, okay. So now I will take suggestions. It's like an auction. Not really, no money involved. What theme should we do? The sky is the limit. I had in my previous section, we did a COVID theme that I didn't notice because there's so many cameras on, and later on I was sharing the photos. This one person, I don't know what it is, but got the whole hazmat suit and everything. Got it into, I don't know, because I feel like I didn't talk that long before I said, let's do a COVID one. It's just like fully covered like in one of those movies. And I was like, oh my God. It looks like one of those, what are those movies where, you know, they go into like this third world, whatever, and they're just like completely covered and they have that black thing and with the thing coming out because you can't breathe or whatever. He had the whole thing on. And I was like, that's like dedication right there. Anyways, all right. So I will take themes. Sunglasses. Can everybody find a pair of sunglasses right away? So I was gonna do masks but then people were like, that's depressing. So that didn't work. Sunglasses, I might have something here. Oh, I have one. Oh my God, I forgot about these. All right, I can find them. You don't have any? Well, do you have like just kind of fake ones? I have a fake one right here. Or like some sort of, should we make it broader? Like some sort of accessory. Could be a hairband. You know, you can have a mask as your earring. You know, people do this. I do that sometimes when I need to drink my coffee. Some accessory. Let's see. Chat says, I can't wear glasses on my face because I broke my. Oh no! Oh my God, how much pain are you in, Savannah?
No, it's okay. I had surgery like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so like I'm not allowed to put anything on my face right now.
Okay. Like a hairband or.
Could you put them on your head? Like wear them on your head?
Yo, do a scarf around your face.
No, like the sunglasses you could wear on your head.
Oh, it's true. My mom does this all the time. She has a hairband.
Yeah.
Like this. And she keeps her hair backwards like that.
And then you forget that they're on your head.
Yeah,
and you're like, where are my sunglasses?
I know. And then I go to the shower. I'm like, oh, it's true. That does happen. All right. So we got some sunglasses. Maybe what other accessories could you use? You can hold something up if you want. Gonna pretend my glasses are sunglasses. Yeah, totally. You can like have if you want to like do like a big earring, you can like focus on your ear. Just some kind of accessory. I do have sunglasses here, but that's about it. You can hold an umbrella. Oh, it's snowing outside, guys. Did you know that? I didn't know because I have no windows in my office, but my students are like, it's snowing outside. And I was like, oh, it's so sad. There's nobody here in the department. I took a video. I'm like, hi, guys, it's snowing. No response, of course. It's really sad. Okay. Anybody need ideas to join? I think most of you guys have some sort of something. It just stopped in Brooklyn. Oh, I wonder if it's, I don't know. I have to go outside to look. My office is completely walled up, all 4 walls. But at least it's not drilling on the top floor, which is happening in my apartment. It stopped in Manhattan too. Oh, that's too bad. So it's not going to pile up. It didn't look like it was going to pile up. Oh, well. So we have the first snow. Okay, let's go. All right, I'm going to wear my sunglasses too. Let's see. All right, ready? Phew, James Bond we are. All right, so I'm going to, no. I want to get rid of the chat first. So it's bigger. All right. Give me your sexiest pose with the sunglasses, okay? Or whatever accessory. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1. Gotta make the edges correct. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. All right, now we gotta do a goofy one. That's like a requirement. We gotta do a goofy one. So it's either you can make, my favorite hashtag these days is go away COVID. So you can have a face that's responding to COVID, or like as if you're facing COVID, or just kind of like a silly face. Okay, you guys ready for that? I think somebody got logged off. My like blocks are not lined up right now. Who was it? Morgan's plant. What happened to Morgan's plant? Nice. Yes, you could have hold a plant. Oh, I can't have a plant here. There's no window, so there's no sunlight. I was thinking about that when I first moved into this office, and then I was like, oh, they'll die because there's no window. All right, let's see. She is my baby. Oh, okay. I think somebody got logged off. Does anybody know who that might be? Oh, there's a dog somewhere. Oh, Keely! What's your dog's name? Oh my God. Cashmere. Oh, it's such a good name. My friend is a Frenchie, and she named her Frenchie Waffles because she always eats anything and everything. Oh my God. Is she a pit? Is she a she? Oh my God, so cute. Dogs get all the love. She's a she. Oh my God. Okay. I don't know who left. And then I'm going to wait for James Lynn. You ready, James Lynn? Your camera's off right now. Okay, you're ready. Who's missing? It's just like there's just one person who got logged off. Quickly. Can I do that thing where I can scan and find? Laura's still here? Laura's still here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. They probably lost the connection. That's why I kind of want to see. Laura's here. Alexis is here. Emma is still here? That's right. Okay. Here you are. Steffi's still, okay. I don't know who it is. Okay. So we will proceed. Oh, is Apurva still here? Maybe it's Apurva. Oh, there you are at the top. Okay. I don't know. I'm wondering how Zoom figures out who to put on the top. It's usually Christina, Samantha, Mara, and Steffi. You guys are usually on the top of my screen, but I don't know why. Not sure. I don't think it's like a last name thing either. Okay. Who's on the top of yours? So right now on my top, it's Mara. So on your, probably it's this direction. Mara, and then it's me, and then it's Apurva, Christina, and Steffi. That's on the top right now. But I don't know. So usually it's the people who turn on the cameras are on the top. I think that's the priority first. So that's usually Mara, Christina, Samantha, and Morgan, and then Steffi. Those are on the top. But then right now, I guess because everybody's camera's on, I'm not really sure. Oh, same for you. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. I think we're going to have to go. We're missing somebody. Oh, there's Abby. It was Abby. Oh my gosh, Abby, we didn't take any photos yet. You just got to join us now, and then we're ready. Oh. All right, we're just gonna give her a second. Abby, let us know when you can turn your camera, and then we're gonna do our silly one, okay? We're gonna silly one is like, we're gonna kind of make a face to COVID because we want COVID to go away. If you secretly like COVID, just like do whatever face you want to do, okay? I won't judge or anything. All right, Abby, are you ready? Can you get your camera on? Maybe it's a connection issue. I'm gonna get it ready. Hello, hello, hello. Abby.
That was clutch, not gonna lie.
Sorry, my computer is like not working.
So your camera's not working right now?
Yeah, I tried turning it off before and then turning it on, and then it kicked me out, and now I'm back in, but it says I'm showing my video, but it's not working. So I'm gonna try to leave again.
Oh no. Did you set that inside Zoom? So every application kind of has their own video setting?
Yeah, it was working before. I took like the first few pictures and then
I
it kicked
remember.
me out. So I don't know what's happening.
Okay. All right. Well, do your face. We'll imagine what kind of face you're making. Okay. All right, I'm ready, guys. So make sure we're gonna make our silly faces, okay? Countdown from 3. 3, 2, 1. Okay, very good. Excellent. We'll do one more silly. Those are my favorites. Try to make one different silly face than you did just before, okay? 1, 2, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, very good. All right, last call. Any themed ones? If not, we will end our class photo ceremony. Any themes at all? I don't have a dog with me. I don't have a pet, so I can't bring a dog along. That would be awesome though, if everybody had a pet. I have a friend who has a lizard pet, and she just puts it on her finger and then she takes pictures with it. I was like, oh my God, that does work. Any themed ones you want to do? No? Are we good? I feel like Alexis and Mara are talking, like bouncing off ideas right now. Because you guys are separated on my screen, but your eyes like.
No, Professor, actually, I have to catch a flight and we have to go to the airport, and I'm asking Mara if she got her car fixed.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're like, I'm driving her.
Oh my God. Well, good luck. Stay safe wherever you're going, okay?
Yeah.
JFK.
JFK.
All right, guys. Okay, so we're good. That sounds good. So what I'll do is I'm gonna put all of this in Google Photos, and I'll just send you the link so you can download all of them. Okay. And I'll put that on the announcement. Okay, excellent, guys. Good job. Oh, that's wonderful. That was a brief moment of happiness when all the cameras were on. Such a short-lived happiness. Okay, and look at that. Everybody's present. That's so great. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now, I know I sent out quite a number of emails about problem set 8. So I'm going to walk you through that just to point out a few things to make everything clear. While I'm doing that, I'm going to be like, if you were to see a problem like this on the final, this is my intention and this is how you're going to walk through that. Okay. So let me get that. So you guys should all go to Blackboard, MA222 OER. And then problem set 8. I think it's called HT means, or HT for means, problem set 8. So go ahead and open that up. It should be, I know in the other section they were having some issues, but you should be able to access it with ungraded, as ungraded attempts. And then, you can fix things now. Technically, it should have been due, I think, 12 today, but if you need more time, try to submit it by the end of the day. Remember, this is another problem set where if you just do it, you'll get full credit, okay? I think as of now, in my head, I'm counting problem set 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I told you guys that I'll just give you full credit, right? I feel like that's half the problem sets. Oh, well. Thank Lumen and Blackboard for not working very well, because that is the situation right now. All right, so let me share my screen. And you should remember, you will see similar problems, but they're going to be a little bit different in terms of like the numbers, but the kind of like the whole structure of the problem should be the same. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have my chat up, of course, to make sure in case you're asking questions. All right. All right. So let me just zoom in a little bit. I think you can see better. All right. So it should start with something like this, right? The national average SAT score is roughly da 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 da. Okay, so one thing, this should be clear. If we have not covered it in class, I will not ask you about that on the final. If for some reason something does appear that wasn't in the that wasn't covered in class, then email me right away during the exam or after the exam. But there shouldn't be. I went through about almost 40 questions on the final practice, and I got rid of anything that I was even slightly ambiguous, okay? But something like this might appear, so I want you to be careful, right? So the SAT score, the national average of SAT score is probably 1500 or something like that, right? This is the mu, it's telling you, and then we have a random sample of 100, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna do the hypothesis testing, da, 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 da. So we are obviously trying to define the null and alternative hypothesis, okay? If you see something like this, for example, and it says the P is equal to 1500 or the P is greater than 1500, this stands for proportion. However, we did not learn that. So instead of being like, this was not on the material we covered, or you can say that, but that automatically means that this should not be one of the answers, okay? That's the same thing that goes for X, right? We never, in hypothesis testing, we only ever did one thing, and that is to use the population mean, right? We are using a set of statistical techniques to determine whether the population mean is around 1500 or is 1500, or if it is, I have to look at the question. We would like to see if the high school seniors have higher than average. We want to see if the SAT scores are higher, right? So that's the information we have. And this is we've only ever learned mu when we do hypothesis testing. So automatically the second option and the third option should be eliminated, okay? So there could be a question where something like this appears, and it doesn't mean that stuff you haven't learned is appearing. It really is kind of like giving you a hint to eliminate the things, okay? So something like this could appear, and I'm pretty sure I included something like a question like that, okay? This is the one topic that in the math closure, remember we skipped a few topics in 20-something chapters. Those are all about the proportions, okay? Some people like to teach it, some people don't. I decided not to. So if anything like this appears, just know that immediately when you see something that you haven't learned, that's immediately a good reason to like knock that out and be like process of elimination, okay? All right, so something like that could appear, so keep in mind in that, okay? All right, you are performing a right-tailed t-test, t-statistic. Make sure you pay attention to like 4 decimal places as opposed to maybe 2 decimal places, et cetera, okay? Every question probably will have a different instruction. So make sure you pay attention to that, okay? But you will have 2 tries. So sometimes when you like try it, and then maybe you only did up to 0.46, then, you know, make sure that you reread the question before you try your last attempt, right? It could have been something as silly as just not including 2 more digits, okay? All right, so this one, just to review, we did talk about the overall significance test, but just to review, let's say a researcher wants to find out if there's a significant difference between men and women in the average number of tattoos that a person has. After doing the statistical analysis, whether that's probably it's going to be like a hypothesis testing analysis, but after doing such and such, the researcher finds that the p-value is 0.003. Okay, so that's good information. If the chosen significance level is 0.05, right, and usually that is the default almost in all cases, then which of the statement is best interpretation of this p-value, right? So this is the part where you compare your p-value to that threshold, which we call the significance level, right? And because this is less than 0.05, this is either, you know, we have strong evidence against the null or very strong evidence against the null, right? Those 2 options, another way of saying that is that the results are statistically significant, right? If it's strong and very strong, we have a lot of evidence against the null, which means that we are tend to lean towards accepting the alternative. That's what we wanted, right? The claim that we want to fulfill is the alternative. So if we have very strong evidence to reject the null to get us closer to what we believe the answer should be, then that is a statistically significant result, okay? Statistically, because we did use the statistical tools, right? Like the hypothesis testing technique. So statistically, this is a significant result, all right? The way you might remember this is actually under the regression topic, and we called it the test for overall significance of the model, okay? Again, basically the same idea. If the p-value is less than 0.05, we have a significant relationship. To be more exact, we have a statistically significant relationship, okay? This is exactly basically the same interpretation or the conclusion you would draw or infer as you would do in hypothesis testing as well, okay? Just because the context is slightly different does not mean we're doing something different. This is still statistically, if it's smaller than 0.05 in this case, then it's statistically significant, and so is that for in the context of regression. Okay, so that is something. This is just like another way of saying strong evidence to reject null or very strong evidence to reject null. Okay, so that's what statistically significant means, and we do use this phrase quite often in research and when we talk about statistics. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that this is just kind of like a synonym, if you will, for that kind of conclusion. All right, so number 5 is pretty obvious, right? This is the t statistic, right? So this actually, in terms of hypothesis testing, this is actually not going all the way, all the steps. After you get the t-score, then you would use the t distribution equation to get the p-value, and then you compare the p-value to the significance level to infer your conclusions, to draw conclusions, reject the null or fail to reject the null, okay? So this is kind of like halfway through, okay? So remember, you got to focus on what you're asking. I know some of you guys were solving some problems and actually trying to skip this step and trying to get to the p-value, which is why you guys were getting the wrong answer, but you have to go through these steps, okay? But in this case, question 5 is kind of asking only like halfway through the full set of steps for hypothesis testing. Okay, again, number 6 is another example of where you can immediately eliminate some of the options, okay? So anything that says P, so that can be eliminated, that can be eliminated, and that can be eliminated. So it's either gonna be this one that has the mu or this one that has the mu, okay? So that's kind of like what I'm saying, that you might see that in that case. This number 6, oh, did it not get deleted? Okay, so I tried to delete this question. If this question still appears, guys, which I don't think it should, then ignore this question. But you should be able to, if you wanted to learn a little bit, you should be able to, from this statement, you should be able to decide what the null and alternative is. And the claim is that the GPA students is larger than 3.2, right? So the mu is larger than 3.2, so it's probably this one right here, right? So that's the answer. And because it's larger, if you were to draw on an x-axis, anything on the right side is higher numbers, just like a number line, right? And anything on the left is left tail or lower numbers. So if it is larger, then we're talking about a right tail thing, right? So up to here should also be fine. And then based on the 20 people, you should be able to get this test statistic, okay? Which is, remember, it's t equals, if you were to do the whole equation, then it's like x bar minus the mu 0, what we decided as going to be the null, and over the standard deviation, the sample standard deviation divided by square root of n, which is this one, right? So you should be able to get the test statistic. And then ignore this. This is nothing that we actually learned, okay? So ignore this, and then based on that, you can plug it into the t-disk to get the p-value and come to a conclusion, okay? So that's normally the steps. This should not have been included in the first place. It's actually something different. What you might be thinking of when you see this, but this is not that thing, is the Z star and the T star. And we did call that Z critical value and the T critical value, and those are still valid things that we've learned. And for the Z star, you know, you use, what chapter was that? There's an equation, but really at the end of the day, remember, you can just use that table for any Z star that you ever have to use. Right, this table right here, right? And it's most likely I'm going to choose either 90%, 95%, or 99%, and the Z star value for that is already here, right? So you're just using this table to get the Z star. And then for the T critical value, you might not remember, but basically we plug it into Google spreadsheet, and that's going to help us get our T critical value, okay? So those Z star and T stars are called the Z critical value and the T critical value, and that's all good. And that's part of, you know, these chapters when we need to calculate them. This has nothing to do with that, and you can just ignore this, okay? So if question 6 is not removed, guys, please just ignore it. That's fine. You're gonna get full credit for that one, okay? So just keep that in mind. And then you're approving a 2-tailed test statistic with Z, find the p-value, and make sure this is like 4 decimal places, so keep that in mind. Test statistic, right? This is another question where we don't go all the way in terms of hypothesis testing, but we only get a t-score or test statistic that we need to get. So that's good. Question 9 also should have been deleted, okay? So if that is not deleted, make sure you skip question 9. But again, most of these parts you should be able to do, right? Immediately you can take out 1 and 2 and 4 because that has the symbol P that we have not covered. So it's either going to be the 3rd one or the 5th one. Our textbook, Borga Costa, you want to test this claim, right? So it doesn't have any specific information whether we think that the cost is greater or lower. So it's probably going to be different than, which is this one right here, right? So something like this should be able to find out right away. The null hypothesis in words could be selected. Point estimate is just another word for average. So this is exactly the same as the average that's given here, but don't worry about it. I don't use anything in the final that will confuse you. This should have been T stars. So this is actually a typo in the question because this is all, the sigma is not provided. So that's a wrong one. So don't worry about that one. Okay. So that's question 9. So ignore question 6 and 9 if it still appears, but I did delete them, or I tried to at least. Okay. This one is a nice question because you don't really involve any calculation, but it is like a conceptual question for hypothesis testing, right? So we have a mean work week for engineers in a startup company, 64 hours, right? So these are all the engineers at the startup, so that's going to be the population mean. But then we asked 10 engineers as a sample from that startup, and we saw their average work hours, right? Is the newly hired engineer testing a mean or a proportion? Again, Again, we didn't even learn this. So basically I'm giving you the answer. It has to be mean because I won't be asking you a question that is something about what you haven't learned. So immediately you can do this, but you should be able to draw from this conclusion, from this context that we are looking at the mean, right? The null hypothesis, since it's given to us, we know it's 64, right? Because that's what they say it is in the question. And we want to know, or we believe, or we hope that the average hours is shorter, right? So it's definitely going to be one-tailed. Now our guess has to be between left tail and right tail, and shorter means that it's smaller number, so it's probably going to be on the left tail area, right? So you can get a question like this where it's just covering the concepts of what hypothesis testing techniques you should be using when you have a question like this, right? This is a very good question. All right, something like that. This one is kind of like more basic, right? You have all this information and they're asking 9 engineering friends out of God knows how many the population is, but you only need to know the n, which you could count this. X bar, remember, is the average. So in Google spreadsheet, you will do equal, average, and you have to put those numbers in, right? Or, well, when I say put those numbers in, you probably want to open up a Google spreadsheet and type in 54, 50, 45, you know, and then select all of those in your average function, as well as the stdev function. Okay, so you got, it's simple, but you do need to put this in the spreadsheet and be able to use those equations in the spreadsheet. Okay, so something like this. All right, so this is one that I wanted to cover specifically. Fortunately, this time the alpha is 0.05, but for some of you guys, you might have a different number here. Okay, so let me just explain very quickly. So the researcher boiled down the hypothesis down to all of these figures, right? It's not even a written kind of question, just all the numbers are there. So you just immediately can go jump right in. This one is not walking you through step by step, but it is telling you to get to all the way to the end, right? So what you would first do is hypothesis is set up. So now your first step is to get the t statistic, right? So in Google spreadsheet, it will equal this number right here, this minus 41, right? Divided by the standard deviation, divided by square root of 21, right? So then you'll get the test statistic. And then you will do equal t dist and get the absolute of that test statistic you just found. Close the parentheses, comma, degrees of freedom. So it's n minus 1, which is 20. And then comma, and you know that it's a one-tailed test because it has greater sign. So then it's 1 at the end of the inside that t dist function. And then you'll get the p-value and you put it in here, right? Okay, so what is this information doing up here? And when it is not 0.05, what does that mean? Okay, so this is it only comes into play all the way at the end. And it's actually, when I say the end, it's after the step when you make the conclusion, when you draw the conclusion, okay? So usually the significance level is 0.05, and then you will compare the p-value you have calculated to that 0.05, right? And usually if it's smaller than that, it's either strong evidence or very strong evidence against the null. And if it's like equal and up to 0.1 or something, it's like moderate or some, few, you know, it has those steps. If it is something other than 0.05, you basically do the same thing with that threshold, okay? So if it's like 0.06 or 0.09, 0.1, you just use that as a threshold instead of 0.05 to make your conclusion, right? So let's say this was 0.1. Then I compare 0.1 to 0.1269, right? Still, my p-value is greater than 0.1. So I probably have some or moderate evidence against the null, okay? If it's simplified, we might just kind of, depending on what the options are, it will be in that region where it's greater than that significance level, which tends to be a little bit of a weaker argument to reject the null. Okay, so that's all that is. So if you ever get a question where the significance level is not the default 0.05, do not panic. In this question, it actually doesn't even matter because I don't tell you to draw the conclusions. But if I do, you would use that significance level as opposed to the default 0.05. Again, if there is no significance level provided to you, then you use the default 0.05. Okay? So critical is P. So are you, Morgan, are you asking, was that an old question in terms of like the critical value or?
Yeah, it was just like based off of like the test statistic in, I think it was 6 or something like that, but just because of the wording, I thought like the test statistic was for the X value.
Uh-huh.
Like that's what the first time, I think we went over that, but like the first time I thought it was asking like, what is the statistic we're testing? So I put an X value there, and then the critical value, I put the T because of our other chapters, but you clarified it, so it's okay.
Yeah, so don't worry about that particular question. I will never ask you to put in a critical value equal in a box like that. That was totally, actually, there is something like that that exists, but it's a separate concept that we have not covered, and we don't need to go into that. If I am ever asking you Z star or T star, I will make sure that I use that symbol as opposed to calling it a critical value, so it's not confusing, okay? So don't worry about that phrase critical value. Just remember Z star, T star, and then the T statistic, that's the T statistic is the one that we are using in hypothesis testing, okay? So that's the one where we do T equals, which is basically the same function as the T star. But it's X bar minus mu 0 over S over square root of N, okay? So just keep that in mind and forget about that particular phrase. I won't have any question that's asking that one, okay? In terms of p-value is always your conclusion, right? Even if it's in norm S dist, the area under the curve was our final kind of conclusion. Just like that, p-value is equal to the area under the curve. So that's kind of like our final answer, if you will, for pretty much any of the questions that we have been doing that involves a normal distribution, okay? So p-value is our kind of like our conclusion thing. And then we have Z star and T star, which depending on what's known, Z star you use when you have the information of sigma, which is rare, right? If you don't have population mean, why would you have the population standard deviation, right? That's a little bit of a silly question, but sometimes in stats it appears. But really, the most frequently used and the most frequently one I ask in the final is going to be has to do with the T statistic, which is the one we just covered, X bar minus the mu 0, meaning the null that you set the mu to, over S sample standard deviation over square root of N, okay? Which, you have the equations for in the Mathplosion textbook, okay? So that's the one I need you to focus on. That's called T score or T value or T statistic, but if it has T, that's what you're going to think of, okay? All right, so, but back to question 12, I really want you to not get confused about this significance level, okay? All it is some threshold where you get to compare your p-value to either say that something is significant or not, or in other words, reject the null or not reject the null, okay? So to go back, the overall, and in regression, we call that, the significance test, the test for overall significance test, but it's exactly basically the same thing as what we do for hypothesis testing as well, okay? So keep that in mind in terms of statistically significant things. So this would automatically be this question, right? Because we didn't do proportions. So if a question is asked like that again, you can immediately just like not eliminate the one that is about something that we didn't learn. But I'll try not to include these. Okay, so that should be the end of that one. Any questions regarding problem set 8? If you have not finished it yet, do not worry. Just try to finish it by the end of the day, okay? But if you have finished it, that's great. It's still gonna appear as silly numbers on the Blackboard, unfortunately. Just ignore that part. I'm gonna, when I do the grading, I'll make sure you guys all have the full credit for, I don't know, problem set 4 through 8 or something like that. Whatever, a handful of them. So you get those. Let's see, Naja is asking, so if it's different, is there a way to still use the p-value calculator for the thing? Oh, yes. So excellent question, Naja. So you would use the p-value calculator just like you have been using it. Nothing changes. It still is set at 0.05. Don't change any of that, okay? Just leave it as is. You know how we never touch the significance level? Just leave it as it is. And only if you are having to make a conclusion, make an inference, and a significance level is something other than 0.05, you will use that as a benchmark, as your threshold to just compare whether it's greater than or less than that. Okay? All right, any other questions? That's an excellent question. You can use that p-value calculator. That is there for you to use unless you want to use the Google spreadsheet, which is doing exactly the same thing. If you think about what goes inside the parentheses, what goes in the function, and then what you're clicking on in the p-value calculator is the exact same information it's requiring. So it's not really that different. All right, excellent. Okay, so we're all set with problem set 8, right? Oh God, I just never want to deal with this like Lumen stuff again. Actually, I do have a question for you guys. So I asked the previous section, but I won't tell you what the results are because I want to get your pure, unbiased reaction. So I am going to teach this class again. It was kind of like a surprise to me that I was going to teach this class this semester. It was kind of given to me by my department without like a warning. But I actually really enjoy teaching it. So I want to teach it again next semester. And so what I was thinking, because I had so many problems this semester, I was thinking I would have the students just create their own Lumen accounts, which is 100% free. And then they join my course basically. And then they can just take their Lumen assessments in Lumen instead of taking it inside Blackboard. So if I were to do that, if this were you, what do you think? Would you prefer that? Or, you know, that's like I have a Blackboard logged in, then I have Zoom logged in, and now I have to have Lumen logged in. So it's like too much. Like which one, if you like kind of having a separate account in Lumen, type in Lumen. You like the way things are, type in BB in the chat. Oh. That is fascinating. Because guess what? Overwhelmingly, the previous section all said Blackboard is better. Oh no, now what I do?
Wait, why? Why did they say Blackboard?
I think
did you get a
that
reasoning?
last sentiment I saying, it's like, well, I'm logged into Zoom and I'm also logged into Blackboard. Now it's another thing that I have to be logged into. I think that's why they were like, just keep it in Blackboard. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know about how you guys feel, but at the end of the day, it was really mostly stressing me out, but then you guys got just full credit for 5 problem sets, right? So I don't know if it really was that stressful for you. Maybe it was. I'm not saying that you weren't, but it was really stressing me out. So
would it be a lot easier for you in regards to like changing the due dates and like
exactly, and like wouldn't the conversion process, like from putting it on Lumen to then Blackboard, like couldn't that also be why there were so many issues? Or is it
so as a computer scientist who has done a little bit of development work, whenever you try to merge 2 infrastructures together, errors are bound to happen. That is just like a very classic thing where things don't match, right? And you can kind of think of it as 2 people who don't have like matching personalities. That's exactly what it is. So there's a lot of things that could go in there. I won't be able to, even people who are, and the development team might not be able to pinpoint exactly what's happening. They did tell me that in this iteration or this version, even if you were in Lumen and let's say I have an assessment and then like Morgan started it, but the rest of the class didn't and I wanted to extend it, if I extend the deadline, it's still going to mess up things. That has nothing to do with Blackboard. That's just Lumen having its limitations. It's just kind of silly because wouldn't you think that would be a very typical feature that a professor would want, right? They said in the next iteration that will come out, God knows when that's going to be, probably after I die. So, you know, they're working on that. Obviously, that is a feature that would be really lovely because, you know, as things go, you guys have more questions and like, I need some more time. Then why would I give you more time to like solve the problems, right? But if one person starts it, then like, it's like they left, the train has left. So it's kind of like, no backtracking. So that's not going to be solved. But there are a few things that may be a little bit less finicky if I keep it everything in Lumen. But if it's only me suffering, then that's fine, right? If the students are not suffering, that's fine, right? It's like, this is my job, so it comes with its own things.
Right, but also like some of the problems, I think when like we were going through them, like it was due to Lumen problems. So it would be nice to like actually have them as like practice and know like, I don't know, like that it's practice and it's not just a system error, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think there is something weird, like earlier in the section, it was clear in Lumen that it was the ungraded attempt was available. But then some of my students were like, no, it's not even popping up like that. And I think that has to do with the Blackboard thing. And I was like, I made them do a hard refresh and then it was working. So there is potentially less things that may be glitchy if I just kept it in Lumen. Also, it's prettier than Blackboard. So, you know, interface means a lot. So, okay, that's interesting. Well, Well, I only have one section next semester for this particular class, so I don't know what to do. I totally thought you guys were going to say Blackboard too. Wow, you got like every section, it's just so different. I don't know how that works. It's very interesting. As an instructor, this is always like an enigma to me. All right, did your other section have problems with Lumen too? Oh, absolutely. This is like basically the common denominator is me. I just like screwed up everything. Everybody had problems. But I did have a meeting with this Lumen guy who's kind of like our representative. And I have identified so many bugs. He's like, you're the single most person who brought up these issues that nobody has ever else brought up before. And I was like, yes, because questions were like disappearing. And he thought I was crazy. And then he like tried to do something like, oh, actually a question appeared out of nowhere. I think I know what you're talking about. I'm like, see? so he knows I'm not crazy now. So I apparently have a lot of issues with it. And along the way, I have identified issues that they need to fix on their end as well. Yeah, if it's easier for you, just do Lumen. That's true. It is my class, right? I would just have a link to Lumen on Blackboard. Students can save username and password. True, true, true. Yeah, use the same password for school stuff anyways. Okay, Naja, maybe next time don't tell that to the entire class. Try to have a few that you rotate through, okay? Because you actually care, ha ha ha. She's like, oops. I keep like mutating just like a few special characters, you know what I mean? And it's like, they're like, don't use the same one you used in the last 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, so complicated. Anyways, okay. Anyway, so that's interesting. A different kind of reaction. I'll think about it over the winter, I guess. Okay, so problem set 8 is done like that. Now problem set 9 has been uploaded. And I definitely gave you, I think, enough time for that deadline. Let's see if for my last problem set, if I can get this right this time. So let me just triple check. It should be due, what are we, on the 9th? It should be due like the 17th or something. Okay?
It's due the 14th.
Okay, it's due the 14th. Samantha said it, not me. It's due the 14th. It's regression and correlation stuff. It should be pretty easy, okay? Nothing complicated at all. It's actually gonna mimic what we're gonna do today a lot, and I think you guys will be able to just like breeze through that one. It shouldn't be that complicated, okay? All right, but for today, what I'm gonna do is what I meant to do for Monday is to break you guys up in groups and basically solve just a bunch of questions together, okay? So if you go to your Blackboard and then go into regression, all the way on the bottom, you're gonna see this. This is actually due tonight, okay? But I'll extend it to tomorrow night. This is done inside of Blackboard, so I can change the due date and it should be fine. And what you're gonna do is, it's about 15 questions you guys are gonna work on together right now during this class, and hopefully you can finish it within time. And then you are going to submit. Remember, even though you're doing it in a group, you're gonna submit it individually at the very bottom where it says correlation and regression problems, submit here, okay? So go ahead and open up that Google Doc right now, and you'll see at the top, there's a few things. So you're gonna put your name in, and then again, you're gonna kind of like write down a few things you notice about your team, because I want your cameras to be on. And then I ask here, you're gonna do a little insert here, group screenshot. So just a mini group screenshot, since you guys look all nice and all preppy and stuff. So you're gonna put a screenshot in there, and then you'll solve the problems together, okay? So this is only, you can view it, so go ahead and save that into your Google Drive, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the breakout rooms now, but I have to actually assign you guys according to that list I gave you. So it's gonna take me a second, okay? But go ahead and have that ready. Maybe you can take a look at what the problems are, and that should help you. Okay, so let's see. One is, I have Deidre, Savannah. Is this in, what order is it? Savannah, and then Jameson. Huh, my colors are actually Deidre, Savannah, Jameson, Christina, and Apurva. Okay, I think that's correct. Apurva and Christina, okay. Okay, so that's done. And now assign to Abby, Ashley, Akili. When you're done, guys, you're done and you submit, and then you're good to go. You don't have to check in with me again, okay? but Mara's gone now, and Steffi. That's right, because the two of them had to leave, so you guys are going to be a little bit shorter in terms of number of people. Then we have Laura, Liam, Emily, and Amanda, and Jenny. Oh, is Jenny not appearing? Okay, that's weird. All right, so then we have Carrie, Naja, Joy, Emma. Okay, good. Good. All right, all rooms are open, guys. Go ahead. And if you have any questions, I'll be in the main room. All the way on the correlation and regression problems. Yes. Okay, good. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's good. All right, Akili, you are in breakout room 2. Did you get the pop-up invitation? Okay, good.